Residents of Port Harcourt, the River State capital city, are now counting their losses after flooding caused by 3 days of non-stop rainfall led to destruction of their properties.
Now, 3 persons are reported to have died in the floods in some parts of the city. TVC News' Uche Okoro has that report.
This latest outbreak of flooding in some parts of Port Harcourt metropolis was caused by heavy rains that began before noon on Saturday, July the 22nd. Many residents in areas such as D-Line, Diob, Elekahia and Ad George were the worst hit. In addition to the loss of property, many victims have also been rendered temporarily homeless. But by Monday morning, the extent of damage caused by the disaster became even clearer.
In the night, 2 days ago, I was sleeping. My husband now called on me. Come and see. Water is all over the house. I was telling him, which water is that now? He said that's what he's seeing. Before we knew it, the parlor is already filled, the chairs everywhere soaked. Things are floating on top of the water.
From what is behind me, the damages are so much. All my computers, servers that I brought in from overseas to do work with, they've all been damaged. And now I have to find a way to reclaim them, which I don't know if it is possible because it will take weeks to reclaim these servers.
Those affected also confirmed that 3 persons were killed as a result of the flood.
The one that surprised us most is when we went outside. There was a dead body in front of my house due to this same flood. Then the light was on. We were very wise. Immediately we saw the water was so much, we just removed our own fuse. So light went off so that it wouldn't be shocking people.
Somebody died in the apartment in one of the flats here on this street. He died as a result of not knowing the water got to him, or he never knew that the water was at that level, and he died inside his flat.
For now, there are different perspectives about what may have been responsible for the flood disaster.
Mechanics are blocking the roads as well. The mechanics, the cars, there are so many dead cars on these roads that we can't believe that when the trucks come in to pick up the debris, they can't pick up the debris because the cars are blocking the way.
There is a reclamation exercise going on around the Amadi Creek by NLNG. And I wonder if the government ever carried out an environmental impact assessment to know the impact that will have on residents or environment in this area. Because I've been made to understand that the flood was majorly made worse by the reason of that development going on there, the Samfilling.
This is the Intanwaba Creek, a major channel through which water flows across many parts of Port Harcourt. Residents attribute many incidents of flooding in the city to the occasional overflow of this canal.
As it was raining, it was hallelujah. Everybody will bring out his refuse container and dump into the drain. And as it gets down there, it gets stocked.
Affected residents are now calling for urgent intervention by government to forestall a reoccurrence of the disaster, especially as the constant rainfall has shown no signs of abating. Uche Okoro, TVC News, Port Harcourt.
Well, the Lagos State government has blamed the recent cases of flood in some areas of the state on man-made causes and ordered owners of properties erected on drainage channels and impeding the free flow of water to immediately vacate or risk being removed.
Well, we've heard that before, but we hope this is a different...
Is there a wheel now?
Yeah. Now, the Commissioner for Environment, Babatunde Adejare, says the activities of some individuals is putting the lives and property of residents at risk.
Well, true to recent warning by the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency about potential flood disasters in parts of the country, many states have suffered the effects of this warning with lives lost and property destroyed.
Now, recently, the federal government released 1.6 billion naira to 16 flood-prone states to help cushion the effects of the disaster on affected states.
The money is going to be taken from the federal government ecology account at the Central Bank of Nigeria. And the Minister of Finance is to release the funds direct to NEMA. Also, the acting president has approved that the Presidential Committee on Flood Relief and Rehabilitation should give additional support.
Is an environmentalist, Idowu Salahu. Good morning to you and thank you for joining us on the show. Floods have destroyed property. They have destroyed, some people have died because of flooding, because of drowning. But then there is another angle that many are not even looking at yet, and that is infection due to the floods contacted. Do you believe so too?
Yes. Normally when things of this nature happen, don't forget that the water has flown above all level, above the ground level. So, and the water is mixed with pollutants. And unfortunately in Lagos right now, we're having serious problem of waste collection, waste disposal. So most of our waste are hanging on the road, on the beautiful road that our governor constructed for us. They are now our furniture. So now mixing storm water with waste that contains a high impurity, so you soon know what is going to happen. Our surface water are heavily polluted, underground water heavily polluted. Then the issue of public health now has to be taken into serious consideration. Now, don't be surprised if we visit most of our tertiary institutions now, what they will be battling with now is waterborne diseases. And as I was coming in today, listening to the newspaper report, I heard that 10 has already died in Lagos due to problem of waterborne.
From waterborne diseases?
Yes, from waterborne diseases. So we have to now seriously ginger and maybe give our public health department a lot of support. Advocacy has to go on. People have to start maybe put their water at least up above, maybe burn the water maybe to high degree so that they can kill the germs before treating
and even
water.
Filtering.
Yes, and filter it. So all these are just the advice I would give.
Okay, what of those who have, because we know that a lot of people have boreholes, since there's no public water supply, pipe-borne water, a lot of people have boreholes. In a situation like this, the way you said that the flood has covered the ground level, but how safe is water from the borehole?
It's not safe. Even from beginning, our water from borehole are not safe. The level of treatment are minimal compared to the level of pollutants in those water. But we still have something. I remember in 2005 when I was a team of consultants with the World Bank, that we went around to survey the effect of wastewater in our environment in Lagos and sanitation. We discovered when we got to LUT and other tertiary medical institutions, they were telling us that the rate of waterborne diseases such as cholera and diarrhea has reduced. And we asked why. They said because people now have access to sachet water, which is a little bit treated, at least it has gained a little bit of treatment. So people, they are no longer treating malaria, cholera, diarrhea like before, when people don't have access to water. So because we have access to potable water now through the vendors, commercial people, has reduced this. But with the situation on ground now, that most of treating malaria, cholera, diarrhea like before, when people don't have access to water. So because we have access to potable water now through the vendors, commercial people, has reduced this. But with the situation on ground now, that most of where we are getting the source of the water are now being polluted. So we should be expecting that things have to be done in the area of maybe prevention and cure for waterborne diseases.
All right, now this is not just a Nigerian problem. It's somehow a global problem because it's rampant right now in many countries across the world. And there was a projected warning. But then Nigeria many states right now are facing this at this time. What would you say is the cause of it? Because Nigeria had enough time to prepare, yet properties are being lost and lives are being lost.
We all have blame, both the government and the people. But I tend to take my own blame towards the government. One, the same government regulates the activities of people. When you look at it in that context. Now, if government is serious with building infrastructures, and the same government sets standard before you construct or you provide infrastructure, you're the one that promulgated the EIA law of 1994, and that before any infrastructural development could be done, EIA must be carried out. This same government is flouting this law. So how come the people will not look the other side? And who are the people regulating this and making sure that people don't flout this law? I give you an example. If I am the governor of Lagos State, I will not sit down now and see that Ojota dump site sitting like that. Where is the close-up plan? Yeah, you keep saying you want to close the dump site. You understand? Where is the post-impact, the impact assessment study of the closure of the site? What did you prepare for the other side that you want to do so for people? That's one. Two, the Atlantic City that is going on. I still give reference to that because before the construction of that Atlantic City, EIA was supposed to have been tabled. The Atlantic City construction started in 2009. It was 2011 we started hearing the issue of EIA from Atlantic City. So these are problems our government are causing because they believe nobody can check.
Well, the Commissioner for the Environment already said that the Atlantic City project doesn't have any problem, has not caused any form of flooding.
No, I disagree with him. Let him go to the east drift of the peninsula. What is happening to Alpha Beach is gone. Kuramo is gone. Other coastal areas that are not within the vicinity of the people to see, they are all gone. These are effective. And if you look at the level, the elevation of Atlantic City right now to Victoria Island is higher. So the flow of water to that area will now go towards Eco Hotel, towards, well, no, not towards Eco Hotel, towards Federal Palace and NTA, because that's the lowest part now.
Okay. So it poses a threat.
It's serious threat.
Future threat to to that area.
And that's, when it comes to do you know what they are reclaiming? 9 million square meters.
That's a lot.
It's not easy. So right now they should go back to the drawing board. How do we check the effect of claiming some feeling of claiming 9 million square meters of water body because we want to do infrastructure facility? We have to look at it again.
Okay. All right, Ido, let me put you on hold and take my feet back to my wall now. It's really interesting to be on the wall today twice. Yeah. Okay, let's just have a little understanding of what we are doing here, what we are talking about. Now, this flood, before now, there was a projection by the Nigeria Hydrological Agency that there's going to be floods. And the floods this year is going to affect lots of states. In fact, they say about 23 states or over 20 states will be affected. Now, a heavy downpour over the weekend wreaked havoc on the Delta State capital, Asaba, and surrounding communities. Now, the rains left many residents homeless. Some areas that were submerged in water, according to eyewitnesses, are the State Secretariat, Delta Broadcasting Service, the State Security Service, and the Universal Basic Education Board in Delta State. If you see these pictures here, now, these are pictures from the Delta State Broadcasting Service. Some of their vehicles, some of their, in fact, we saw some pictures that were sent in earlier on. Documents and computers and office equipment were seen floating on water from the agency. These are pictures from there. Now, if we move on, now this is Port Harcourt. Now, some neighborhoods were submerged in water at the Federal Road Safety Commission office. Now, if you see some of their vehicles, you see all of that submerged in water. You see this building here. You see the impact of water is being submerged in water. It's the same thing here and all of that. Now, we saw pictures of this, not just road safety. There are some other buildings that are close to the Federal Road Safety Commission in Port Harcourt. They were all submerged in water, and it tells you how bad the situation is with this vehicle in there. Now, let's move on. Now, while in Lagos, if we come back to Lagos, social media became quite active as the online flood battle raged on between Lagos Island residents and those on the mainland. And there were some viral pictures. I guess a lot of you have seen some of these pictures in here as people compare the situation on the island around Lekki, Ajah to pictures from streets in Surulere on Saturday. Now, this picture shows, now you see, this are all refuse collected from streets from all over the place, and this is somewhere in Surulere, and you see the dump that was you see the level of just see people walking in the refuse. It's really a very serious situation. And you see this lady with the baby in water. There are places where one of our reporters, Ugochi, one of our anchors, had done a report, and there was the water to almost to the waist level. It's really serious, and this is really a sad situation. But in Lagos, the state government earned the respect, I must say, especially in that Surulere area, earned the respect of residents for quickly evacuating the debris from that area. Now, this is what was hours earlier, and then there was a rescue operation to try to see how they can clear up all of the debris. So this is the after picture of this. So thanks to Lagos state government, but people are still saying, well, it is good, but it's not enough, because it is not just these people who are affected. There has to be some long-term solution to some of these things. And that's why the Lagos state government started the Cleaner Lagos initiative to clean up all the areas in the state. Exactly. Now, the federal government has released about, or has said it's going to release 1.6 billion naira. Tell us how will this money be translated into ameliorating the suffering of the people?
You see, it's so funny. Yes, we have a problem. Any kind of solution that comes, we welcome it. Well, for them to listen by releasing that money, they call it for palliative measure. Palliative. 1.6 billion. Yes, but don't forget, it's not one state. If you look at these 16 states, at 1.6 billion, that's about 100 million. What will 100 million do for flood control and prevention? It's just for palliative. Let me just give you an example. A 2.3 kilometer channelization that I've embarked upon for a federal government cost nothing less than 1.2 billion. Just 2.3 kilometer. We widened the river for about 40 meters, 4 meter retaining wall, then dredge 4 meter. So look at that cost. So compared to now, let's assume now is going to. So when it comes to environmental infrastructure project, is highly capital intense, and that is one of the reasons our government are shying away. Look at the other side for environmental problem. When the environmental project say it's too expensive, I give example, the collection and disposal of waste. You don't joke with such a thing. One of the major problems of this administration is you are transiting from one policy to another. The existing policy that is ongoing, you terminated it. A new one who is not ready has not come in to take over. So there's a vacuum. There's a vacuum. Exactly. That vacuum now is what led to that street filled with, because people could not even see who is to evacuate the waste from their city, from their houses. So the waste are hidden. They've piled up. So I used to make this joke that all these beautiful roads, these skyscrapers, all these bridges we are commissioning, one day waste will become furniture. That's exactly what you saw on over at that picture. Our waste now is now the furniture that we now use to decorate the beautiful road that's being constructed with taxpayers' money. Because lack of what? Awareness by some people who are supposed to do the right thing. And I don't know who is advising the governor on this issue. It's painful. Some people work to get Lagos to cleaner level of that nature for the past 15 years. Okay, and talking about doing the right thing at this time, especially on the part of the Lagos state government, it has issued a notice now to those that have built structures on drainage channels in the state. And it's quite interesting to see the list of areas here: Ilubirin, Dolphin Estate, Osborne Foreshore Estate, Osakpa London, Ikota Ogumbo, Lekki, and somehow it seems these are highbrow areas, really. Yes. So can we say that the rich people are somehow largely the ones even compromising the master plan of the state? And how did they even get away with it? That is the problem of our society. It is the rich people that don't fear the law because they know those who are at the top. Yes. When we did willingness to pay for waste management, we find out that people are willing to pay in Mushin, Ajegunle than people in VI and Ikoyi. Yes, because before you, if the Kai Marshal will go and knock at, or the environmental sanitation officer will go and say, I will sell your house, they will be afraid of the law. Or charge you to court. Or charge you to court. So the people who will say, oh, I know the governor, I can call the governor now, right now, I've been in part of task force, who will tell me I know the governor, I'll tell the governor. You see, it is one of the problems we are having. So the government has to take the bull by the horn look at the other side for those people who have held in the law in protecting the environment. One thing I know is this: there is a master plan. The master plan is known to the government. Those who are against the master plan, they know them. Let them go after them, and that's a good step in the right direction by saying they want to now do the right thing. But we've been having such task force for a long time. What's the effect? If more people, we still have to coordinate our building plan. We still have to do more into our town planning law. All this has to be taken.
It boils down somehow to political will?
Yes, political will is there. If the governor say, this is my priority, say, okay, solid waste is not my priority, but building this and this is my priority. The other one you left has an effect on the society too. So you must bring experts on the table who will give you the effect of every aspect of development. And this is what we are having right now. If they have consulted very well in the area of this solid waste management, nobody is saying you should not introduce privatization into waste management. It's good. That is when our waste management can create jobs and they can sustain itself. But the policy must be consistent. So policies from something that we have now is what is causing.
But the Cleaner Lagos initiative introduced by the state government is for the purpose of cleaning the state and packing the waste.
I agree. But the people who are to do the cleaning, they are not yet on ground.
They are already been recruited.
Then let the old one still be performing before you take over the.
Well, the sanitation, the Saturday and environmental sanitation has been put on hold for now, or suspended, or banned, if I have to put it that way, due to the legal issue. So how does that compound the situation?
My brother, you don't need to cage me before I clean my environment. It's just an habit. You need to develop the habit. We keep losing money, financial activities, while we stay at home just for 1 hour. What you need to put in place, very simple. If I generate waste, when I was living in UK, I generate waste. They've told me how to do primary storage, secondary storage, and where to go and put it at my tertiary storage. From the home to the community and to the final disposal. So, and somebody must be responsible for transporting the waste, for treating the waste, and for disposing the waste. So we have 5 components of waste management. So and even the drainage too. One thing you should ask, we have about 18 million people in Lagos. Where are their sewage and excreta going into? It's the same drain. There was a time some people did a pilot scheme, they wanted to do water transportation. From Ibutero to, what's the name of this place? Maybe Okobaba or this, they want to move, they want to do water transportation. Oronshoki and Ikorodu. The affair is supposed to make maybe 30 minutes, 4 hours. What happened? The ferry propeller was picking waste because that time it was waste that was being dumped in the lagoon, and the ferry kept breaking down on the road and on the waterway. So what do? We have to first sanitize this. And how do we sanitize the waterway? We need to reduce the influx of waste material by having adequate waste disposal system and put in place.
All right, Ido Salau, environmentalist, we must thank you for coming on the program this morning.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
For having me.